Chapter 1. Sarah's Struggle with English. Sarah was a 25-year-old woman living in a small town. She had a dream of working at an international company, but there was one problem. Her English speaking skills were not good enough. Sarah had studied English in school, but she never practiced speaking it. Whenever she tried to speak English, she felt nervous and embarrassed. She often made mistakes, and it made her feel like she would never improve. One day, Sarah decided that she needed to make a change. She couldn't let her fear of speaking English stop her from reaching her dreams. "I need to practice every day," she told herself. "If I practice, I will get better." But how could Sarah practice speaking English? She didn't have any friends who spoke English, and she couldn't afford to take expensive English classes. Sarah searched online for ideas, and she discovered something interesting: daily listening practice. Listening to English conversations every day would help her improve her pronunciation, vocabulary, and understanding. She also learned about a technique called shadowing, where you listen to someone speaking English and repeat what they say, trying to match their tone and speed. This method was perfect for improving speaking skills at home. Sarah decided to start with this method. She made a plan to listen to English conversations every day and practice speaking by shadowing. Chapter 2. Starting with daily listening practice. The next morning, Sarah woke up early and searched for English conversation videos online. She found a YouTube video called Daily Listening Practice for English Learners. The video featured two people having a simple conversation about their daily lives. Sarah put on her headphones, pressed play, and began listening carefully. In the video, the two speakers were talking about their morning routines. Speaker 1. "Good morning. How was your weekend?" Speaker 2. "Good morning. My weekend was great. I went hiking in the mountains. What about you?" Speaker 1. "I stayed home and watched movies. It was relaxing." Sarah listened to the conversation once, paying attention to the words and the way the speakers pronounced them. Then she replayed the video and began to shadow the conversation. She spoke out loud, repeating the sentences right after the speakers. At first, it felt strange. Sarah wasn't used to speaking English out loud, and she made mistakes with the pronunciation. But she didn't give up. "It's okay to make mistakes," she reminded herself. "The more I practice, the better I'll get." Every morning, Sarah continued her daily listening practice. She listened to different conversations about everyday topics like going to the grocery store, meeting friends, or talking on the phone. After each video, she shadowed the conversation, speaking out loud and trying to match the speaker's pace. Chapter 3. Building Confidence with Short Conversations. After a few weeks of daily practice, Sarah noticed something exciting. She was getting better. She could understand the conversations more easily, and her pronunciation was improving. She also felt more confident speaking English out loud, even though she was still practicing alone. One day, Sarah decided to challenge herself. Instead of only shadowing conversations, she would start creating her own sentences. She found a video where the speakers were talking about their favorite hobbies. After shadowing the conversation, Sarah paused the video and began to speak about her own hobbies. "I like reading books," she said out loud. "I read a lot of fiction books, but I also enjoy history and science. When I have free time, I like to go to the park and read. It helps me relax." At first, Sarah struggled to find the right words. But with each sentence, she felt more confident. She wasn't just repeating what other people said anymore. She was speaking her own thoughts in English. It felt good. To continue building her confidence, Sarah practiced speaking short conversations every day. She would choose a simple topic, like talking about her day or describing her favorite food, and then speak out loud for a few minutes. She didn't worry about making mistakes. The goal was to get comfortable speaking English every day. Chapter 4. Practicing with a speaking partner. After 2 months of daily listening and speaking practice, Sarah was ready for the next step: speaking with another person. She knew that practicing alone was helpful, but she needed real conversations to improve her speaking skills even more. Sarah joined an online language exchange program where people from different countries could practice speaking English together. She was nervous at first, but she reminded herself that everyone in the program was also learning. They wouldn't judge her for making mistakes. Sarah's speaking partner was a woman named Maria, who was from Brazil. Maria also wanted to improve her English, and they agreed to practice speaking together for 30 minutes each day. During their first conversation, Sarah felt nervous. Her heart was racing, and she worried that she wouldn't know what to say. But Maria was friendly and patient, which made Sarah feel more comfortable. They started with a simple conversation about their daily lives. Maria: Hi, Sarah. How are you today? Sarah: I'm good, thank you. How are you? Maria: I'm fine. What did you do today? Sarah: I went to the grocery store. I bought some vegetables and fruit. What about you? Maria: I worked all day. Now I'm relaxing at home. As they continued talking, Sarah realized that the conversation was going smoothly. She was able to understand Maria and respond without feeling too nervous. After their first practice session, Sarah felt proud of herself. She had spoken in English with a real person, and it went better than she had expected. Sarah and Maria continued to practice speaking every day. Sometimes they talked about their hobbies, their favorite movies, or their plans for the weekend. Each conversation helped Sarah feel more confident and fluent in English. Chapter 5: Expanding Vocabulary and Phrasal Verbs. As Sarah's speaking skills improved, she realized that she needed to expand her vocabulary. She wanted to use more interesting words and expressions in her conversations, but she often felt limited by the simple words she knew. To solve this problem, Sarah started learning new vocabulary every day. She made a list of new words and phrases from the videos she watched, and she practiced using them in sentences. She also focused on learning phrasal verbs, common combinations of verbs and prepositions that native English speakers use all the time. For example, Sarah learned phrasal verbs like give up, look forward to, run into, and take care of. These phrases helped her sound more natural in conversations. One day, Sarah practiced using her new vocabulary with Maria during their conversation. Sarah: I'm looking forward to the weekend. I'm going to visit my family. Maria: That sounds nice. Do you visit them often? Sarah: Yes, but this time is special. I'm going to help my mom take care of her garden. By practicing new words and phrases in real conversations, Sarah was able to remember them better. Her speaking became more fluent, and she felt like she was communicating more naturally. Chapter 6: Using Daily Life to Practice English. Sarah realized that she didn't need to limit her practice to scheduled conversations. She could use her daily life as an opportunity to practice speaking English. For example, when she was cooking dinner, she would describe the steps in English. I'm cutting the vegetables, she would say out loud. Now I'm boiling the water. I need to add some salt and pepper. When Sarah went for a walk in the park, she would describe what she saw in English. The trees are green and the sky is blue. There are children playing on the swings, and people are walking their dogs. By talking about everyday activities in English, Sarah practiced thinking and speaking in English more naturally. It became part of her daily routine, and she felt more comfortable speaking English in different situations. Chapter 7: Overcoming Mistakes and Building Fluency. Even though Sarah had improved a lot, she still made mistakes. Sometimes, she used the wrong word or made a grammar error. In the past, these mistakes would make her feel embarrassed, but now, she saw them as part of the learning process. One day, during her conversation with Maria, Sarah made a mistake while talking about her weekend plans. Sarah: I am going to visiting my friend tomorrow. Maria: You mean, I am going to visit my friend? Sarah: Oh yes. Thank you. Sarah didn't feel bad about the mistake. Instead, she thanked Maria for correcting her and moved on with the conversation. She knew that making mistakes was normal and that each mistake was an opportunity to learn. To build her fluency, Sarah also practiced speaking for longer periods without stopping. She set a timer for 5 minutes and talked about a topic, like her favorite book or her future goals. At first, it was hard to keep talking for that long, but over time, she became more comfortable speaking without pausing too much. Chapter 8: Celebrating Progress. After several months of daily practice, Sarah looked back at how far she had come. When she started, she could barely speak a full sentence in English without feeling nervous. Now, she could have conversations with people, use new vocabulary, and even correct her own mistakes. One day, Sarah got a call from an international company she had applied to months ago. They wanted to interview her for a position in their marketing department. The interview would be in English. Sarah felt a mix of excitement and nerves, but she knew she was ready. She had been practicing every day, and her speaking skills had improved a lot. During the interview, Sarah spoke confidently, answered all the questions, and even asked a few of her own. A few days later, she received the good news. She got the job. Sarah's journey to improve her English speaking skills wasn't easy, but with daily listening practice, shadowing conversations, and speaking with a partner, she had made incredible progress. She learned that practice and patience were the keys to success. Now, Sarah was ready for the next chapter of her life, working at her dream job and continuing to improve her English every day.